What is up, Nintendo Land? Welcome to the Nintendo Open Air Podcast. It's that time of year again. E3 is in the air, only a week away. Before we get into our E3 topics, though, we're going to do a quick update on ARMS since the test punch was the last 2 weekends. So, what do you guys think? Has it improved your opinion of the game?
I think it's a little bit better now. I kind of like it. I don't know that I'd buy it, but I think it's definitely better than I thought it was going to be because I had really low expectations. But yeah, it's fun.
Did anyone play the Punch Out on Wii? To me, that the motion control stuff. I like the gimmick. I know I'm kind of in the minority, but I liked it. When I first heard about it, I was very excited. Then I tried it at the event, and I was a little put off by the controls a little bit. I don't know if I got more comfortable with the controls or if they've kind of refined them for the test punch. But yeah, at first I hated it because I was getting my ass beat everywhere. But
You played it at an actual Nintendo event, like before the test punch, though, like
Yeah.
a month or so ago.
it was right when the Switch came out. So it was a few days. Yeah, a few days after the Switch came out. So I had tried it then. And in a different environment where you just kind of you walk up and they stuff the controllers in your hand and here you go, and it's like you really don't know what the hell you're doing. So it was not the best experience. I decided to try it out, but it also, just like I said before, it seemed like the controls were not quite as refined, not quite as sharp. It seemed like I was throwing punches a lot of times when I was trying to dodge and things like that. But yeah, and the test punch, I eventually did pre-order it. I decided I'm on board, just if for nothing else than to be able to hand the controllers to my friends and make them look like idiots.
Yeah, I guess I should mention we've got a new friend of the podcast in Vega sitting in with us tonight. So what did you think in Vega?
I went into it thinking I was gonna hate it, but it's not that bad. The I didn't like the motion controls either, but then I found out that the using the Pro controller is even harder. So yeah, I'm not gonna buy it.
Yeah, I moved to the Pro Control as well. I found it easier, but it is definitely awkward with like the press in the L stick for block and stuff like that. Did you get any time in it, Jason?
Yeah, I got a few times in on the first round, and I just got once in the last one. I guess my opinion of it going in, I didn't really have any kind of liking to the set out or any of the previous promotions from Nintendo. But after I got in and played it, it's not bad. It's fun. It's not something that I thought was fun enough to last more than a few weeks or worth buying, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I almost wonder if it rose from the ashes of Project Robot or something. It's like they took Punch Out and Splatoon and put them together with Project Robot or something. I don't know.
I do get the vibe that they took some ideas from Project Robot for it, but we might be wrong on that. But I don't know. I'm sold. To me, I'll get enough play out of it with local friend matches. My friend that Conquest, that guy, he's on board. He'll play it with his kid. I can play online with him. I think I've got, I think I can get enough mileage out of it to make it worth my time.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to have a lot of other choices. Oh, sorry, go ahead and Vega.
I'm not familiar with Project Robot. What is that?
Project Giant Robot?
Yeah.
That was from last E3, right?
I think it was a couple
two or three.
Ago,
yeah, Miyamoto was looking at doing a project. Was he calling it Project Guard?
Mm-hmm.
Which ended up becoming Star Fox Guard, and then Project Giant Robot, which was like a almost like a Rock'em Sock'em Robots, but you would build a robot and then they would fight with another one. But out of the two projects, people kept saying like they're never going to come out, and they'd keep saying like TBD, and then eventually Project Guard got morphed into Star Fox Guard, which you can tell how much they cared about that game. And then Project Robot just kind of disappeared. Who knows? I think Project or Star Fox Guard would be perfect for the Switch.
How exactly? The whole premise was the two screens.
Well, if Reggie says it, At E3, it'll be true.
They got, you know what? I know this isn't one of our topics, but can we talk about Reggie for a moment? Like, I don't feel that Reggie sucks, man. Well, he doesn't suck. Reggie's all right.
That guy can dance.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he does. Is he dances, and he doesn't dance very effectively. You know what I mean? Like, there's no. You got to be able to schmooze. You got to be able to sound like you're not giving the BS answer when you're giving the BS answer. You don't give the BS answer.
Yeah, but he is quick. I mean, he's quick at doing stuff like that, I think. And like I don't know how much he really knows ever. Like I said, I recently dug up an article.
That's fine. But he follows the company line, but you got to be able to dress it up appropriately. You know what I mean? You can't just, it sounds like he's reading the statement they told him to. And
I think he is. Yeah, I don't think he knows
smiling
much.
and nodding. But that's the thing is, I think they got to get somebody in there who can go in and give the answers, and they don't have to they don't have to give us any more information. They just have to paraphrase it in such a way that it sounds like they are, and he does a poor job of that, I think.
Yeah. I just came across an article from January where they were, complaining about how NES Classic had some shortages, and people are concerned that the Switch might have some shortages. And he was just like, I guarantee you, the Switch will not have any shortages. It'll be a steady flow the whole time. And I know some of you missed out on the NES Classic at Christmas. Well, there's going to be plenty more NES Classics coming too, so don't you worry. And I'm like, this is like 2 months before they said we're not making any more NES Classics. I'm like, did he really not know?
It was probably 2 weeks before they told him they weren't making any more NES Classics, and he was like, oh, crap. No, I understand. I understand that. I'm sure he's as in the dark as anybody else as far as what goes on back in Kyoto, but
he's getting excited about what he's going to announce at E3.
Yeah. He probably doesn't even know yet. Yeah. Exactly. But you still got to make it sound like you have the info even when you don't. And he does a poor job of, like, you know what I mean? For what I do for a living, I deal with a lot of salespeople, and a salesperson, he's a poor salesperson.
He's kind of like a social staller, because he just comes out there. Like, they were asking him about Virtual Console. They said, the Switch is launching in 2 months, and you guys haven't told us anything about the Virtual Console. You know what? We hear you. We're working on it. There's still 40 days. We've still got 40 days until the Switch launches. You will have the details in time. And it's like, no, we don't. We still don't know.
No, he has no idea. But and that's the other thing is, now just perception wise, he's now lied too many times. They got to get rid of him, and it's not his fault. It's not his fault that he's lied, but they've made him lie too many times. It's like, all right, we've burned him up. Like, people don't trust him anymore. Now we got to get somebody else to lie for us for a while.
We hear you. We're looking into it. Compelling software. We read the forums. More information to come.
Do you think what?
And then about 5 years later, we post a meme from said forums that is grossly out of date and laughable.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Jason? Do you think what?
Do you guys think it's become worse since the president has switched?
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't know that it's all Reggie to blame here, but I think it's, like you say, coming from Kyoto there.
You know what, though? I mean, as much as everybody does love Iwata, and he was great, the Wii U, that whole period of Wii U and 3DS was under his control, and there were huge droughts. And I mean, the company, I don't see a huge difference in the way that the company's being run. It seems like it was always just a little bit kind of incompetent, or just they didn't think, they didn't think the way that of making money. Like, you don't think of something like, hey, if I sell these Virtual Console games for $1, I bet I'll sell 10 times the number, which will be more money than it would be if I'm selling them at $5.
Yeah, I don't know how much those decisions had anything to do with him.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
But I know what you're saying in terms of certain kind of, you can see some of the decisions, some of the business decisions that were made under his leadership that, You can see why they were made. You can see that they came from him, and you can see why they didn't pan out. You know, I
think
can
there's a lot
see.
more stock money that could be getting into that. Like, there's a lot more money to be going into the pockets there than, they're very conservative with how much they sell and what they sell, and it's like they're really not as focused on money. It seems like they leave a lot on the table.
But I think they've been like that since before Iwata. You know, I think that might come from the family, but that's speculation. And I know we're getting off topics. What were our topics again tonight, Jay?
Next.
The next thing on our topic list, we were going to discuss the Pokemon Direct, which came out earlier today.
The so-called the 5-minute Pokemon Direct.
Right.
That was only 5 minutes.
I don't. It did seem like it. It might have been a little longer, but it was short.
Yeah, 8 minutes. They basically just said, "Hey, Pokken tournament is coming to the Wii U." There's Pokken. I'm not a Pocky nerd. And then the Pokemon Gold and Silver are coming to the 3DS Virtual Console, and then there's some game
blowing that they're even bothering with that.
And I don't know anything about. I don't understand the concept of Ultra Sun and Moon. It's like they're remaking Sun and Moon a year after the original, or
Black 2, White 2, the same terrible idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's you guys, because I've not played Pokemon, so I'm not familiar at all with it.
Most of that video was that horrible commercial of some guy traveling through the bush in China to play Pokemon with people, and it's like,
wasn't that exciting?
I mean, it's just as disconnected as anything else Nintendo posts.
It's like a new version of the "We Would Like to Play" commercial.
Kind of.
Yeah. Well, it's like when they do the goofy things with Bill Trennan, and you never think about it, but like the more they do that stuff, I'm just like, this is really how they are, isn't it? Like, I thought they were just being kind of jokey or something, but like, did you see that Animal Crossing Direct when they did the new Amiibo update?
Oh yeah, that was lordy.
Like, that thing is frightening.
Didn't see it.
It's you got to watch that. It's an experience. It's one of those. It's like when the Monkeys made a movie.
Oh wait! I think I did see it. Does it have some guy dressed up as KK Slider playing a guitar?
Yep.
Or dressed up like the RV camp guy. I can't remember that dog's name.
Oh, Harvey. I think it is.
Harv. Yeah.
Harv.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's I watched, or I actually listened to the Direct. I put it on a Bluetooth speaker while I was showering this morning because I was trying to get ready for work. So I listened to the announcements, and I was just like, well, that makes sense. Now we've got our second Wii U game to make its way onto the Switch. So I'm saying that the Switch got the Virtual Console a little bit early, because we've already had Mario Kart, and now, what is it, Pokken tournament?
Yeah,
Pokken. I learned that from a Nintendo Minute.
And don't forget about Splatoon. This is just the extended DLC for Splatoon.
Yeah, Splatoon 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5.
Yeah, did you play that at all in Vega?
Splatoon 2? Yeah, they had the test fire for that one. I played that one.
Did you? Okay, because I know you weren't a real big fan of the first Splatoon.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the first one, and the second one is exactly like it. So
yeah,
it's really the same. Yeah, new maps and
more of what you hate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, once upon a time they could sell something like Splatoon 2 as a sequel, and it would have been perfectly acceptable. There were a lot of those games back in the old days that were just straight up clones, more of the same, and just the sequel. So
DuckTales 1 and 2 are very similar.
I would argue Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 fall into that category, honestly.
Very much so.
Yeah. Well, and that's the rare balance that Nintendo has to strike too, because it's like, I want a new Metroid game and I want something new, but I don't want something so new that it's not samey enough to be a Metroid game. So it's a weird
balance.
tightrope.
It's a fine line. They got to walk between too much of the same. Yeah. Go ahead.
So I guess their answer was just not to do any Metroid games at all.
Right.
Well, they've used that excuse before for not releasing a game. There's just like that we don't know of anything new we can do with it. That's been their excuse with F-Zero. Now,
Yeah.
that being said, I don't know what was new about anything in F-Zero since at least the N64 version. Well, wait a minute. Come to think of it, that's really all there was Super Nintendo, N64, and then Cube, and then
couple Game Boy Advance.
Well, yeah, but those I count everything on the Game Boy Advance. I count as Super Nintendo.
Super NES. Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. Like it always killed me on the Virtual Console when we're selling Super Mario Advance 3. That's like you're selling it 3 other ways. Like, how was Super Mario Advance 3 different from Yoshi's Island 2 or whatever the hell it was on Super NES?
Yeah, they're good at selling us, and we like to buy the same thing over again, just a little bit different. But then there are stuff like Zelda, which they've changed that up a little bit with most of them, even from the first to the second. So that's something that they keep kind of reinventing. So we know they can do it.
They try. They still when all those old guys die off, I don't know what they're going to do anymore.
Oh, like Miyamoto.
There's a magic generation there. It's right. They always seem to find a good balance of the old guard guys and some new talent. Right. That's they always there's psychological studies or sociological studies that say you got to have the right balance of old timers and new people. They keep that balance, but when their good old timers go away, I don't know that these new people are going to measure up so much.
The new people are the ones who did Splatoon. I mean, Miyamoto says that he just kind of is like a supervisor now and just kind of watches what people do and offers advice, but he's really letting the younger generation come up.
Splatoon's great, and I love Splatoon, but Splatoon is not a game changer like Super Mario Brothers was, or Ocarina of Time was.
But how often do things like that happen? I mean, those are rare things. It's like, look at the music in the 60s and stuff, where there was just like this thing where all these amazing artists at one time. So maybe that 80s period was like a renaissance of video games.
Well, it's the birth. It's always the birth, right? it's the modern rock and roll era really began in the 50s and 60s, and so there's all these bands from that era that are highly revered because they were the first ones to do it, and everyone that comes after just isn't the first anymore. And we're in that. Definitely, the video games industry is entering a more mature era as well, where like the film industry, now we have indie studios, and we've got we've got people who are specifically fans of old games or specifically fans of different genres or whatever. It's a very well filled out entertainment medium at this point, and Nintendo's again like the Disney of it, right? And Disney has kind of a magic lock on churning out quality generally, and they go through their ups and downs, and so does Nintendo. But every once in a while, they always pull something back out of their ass that, blows everybody out of the water. And is the Switch it? Is the question. I don't know. I need some more toilet time to decide that.
I'm not personally in love with it. I still haven't really felt like a bond to the Switch, but it's, if you believe everything in the news, it seems like people are still lining up in Japan to get it. I know people still can't get it here yet, but maybe that's part of the appeal of Nintendo too, is everybody wants the thing you can't get.
Nintendo knows that,
see.
And they will regularly screw over their fan base to take advantage of that fact.
Yeah, but we'll see. Like, once stock is ample, which who knows? They're talking about Apple uses one of the same chips, and because they ordered larger amounts, it's created shortages for Nintendo. So I mean, it might not be till Christmas.
Customer. Yeah,
right.
Since we're talking about Nintendo innovating things, what about the online service, which we just kind of got details on within the last week or so?
Speaking of Nintendo innovating, that's some really innovative online services, wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, right. Starting with the voice chat and the
that's the
apparatus.
king. The apparatus. Oh god, that is terrible. That is like I made stuff like that in like electronics classes when I was a kid.
Yeah, it looks like something your dad would piece together from Radio Shack.
Yeah.
But with a cooler case.
With a squid-shaped case.
Yeah, which, by the way, in Splatoon 1, at the very beginning during the load screen, there's like an iPod sitting on the kid's bed that's in the shape of a squid, and I wonder if that's where they drew that.
I'm sure that's where they got the idea. It looks just like it.
Once again, showing how outdated Nintendo is, that a game that came out last year, 2 years ago, prominently featured an iPod ripoff.
Well, it could have been. It could have been an iPhone.
It could be, I guess. He just had his. You get the feeling that everybody in Japan has like headphones on all the time, and they're always earbuds.
You know what? Here's I having traveled to many walking towns and subway towns. There's a lot of, like, if you go to New York or you go to Tokyo or whatever, wherever there's a lot of people that walk instead of drive. Yeah, there's tons of people with headphones on. That's why these $250 Dr. Dre headphones and whatever. That's like boggles my mind that people would buy this stuff. But I understand, I guess, if you live there, if you live in a place where you walk all the time.
If you'll use it. Speaking of which, I was gonna say they throw a headphone jack on everything. I don't think I've ever used the one for my Switch yet. Although I guess I probably should check it out. I was trying to remember, that is on the top, right? So that's good.
Yeah.
Since moving my dock to my desk, so I'm just playing on the computer monitor. I've used it a few times now. When the wife is sleeping next to me or whatever,
with a dock.
I can. Yeah, well, it's because it's in the dock, but it's on the desk, so it's close enough. But if it were in the front of the TV, no, that wouldn't work.
Well, that's another thing I was thinking with the Splatoon thing. They've said that the cords are like 1.5 feet.
Oh yeah.
So you're gonna have to have. And it looks to me like they might be hardwired.
It's a handheld only solution. No, it is a joke. It is. If some rinky-dink little company on Amazon were producing this, you would laugh at it. You wouldn't give it a second thought. You wouldn't buy it. But is this actually Nintendo, or is this Hori, or who is this?
It's Hori, but it's Hori, but it's Nintendo seal of equality.
No, it's definitely beneath Hori, certainly.
And what it really essentially, all it is a way for you to get the audio from your phone and it's a combiner. It takes two signals and puts them into one. It allows you to get the audio from the game as well as the audio from your phone at the same time. So another easier, more elegant solution might be to use Google Hangouts, or use the chat app and just don't plug it into the system and let the TV speakers. I guess you'll hear the TV speakers that way.
Yeah, no, we will, like, when we're playing Splatoon, if we want to get on audio, we're using Hangouts. I don't see a compelling reason otherwise.
Especially they're putting everything behind the friend code thing again. You can only talk with your friends. So, I mean, why would you not use another service?
Okay, I was not 100% clear on how they worded that, because it seemed like you basically would be able to talk to anybody on your team. And you wouldn't necessarily have to have all 4 people on your friend list, just as long as they were all able to join your lobby, or however that works. So friend of a friend or whatever might be able to join. I don't know for sure, but it's,
let's have to wait till the global test chat.
Regardless, it still seems like just a less practical solution than just getting on friggin' Hangouts.
Right.
That just I really hope they have a Connect moment on this, because this is unforgivable. There's no technical reason for it. I mean, the only justification can be the things that we have discussed, prior to this podcast, in terms of, like, their paranoia about, child molesters getting in touch with children and things like that.
Yeah.
They hate that kind of PR because they like to be the family-friendly company, and there's that, people have bought 3DSs with porn on them and whatever. And so I do assume that is kind of the logic behind it, but it just still seems like,
what is it, like a 3-minute lobby?
way a step too far. What?
Like a 3-minute lobby, like, hey, quick, give me your address. I'm coming to get you. And you got to hope you can do it before the match starts.
Yeah, I don't. I don't. I mean, we live in an online world, and at some point, Nintendo as a company has to throw up their hands and say, "Look, we can make things so safe, but at some point, as a parent, you got to pay a little
watch your
attention."
kid.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
got to
well, like
pay
you
a
said,
little
having a
attention.
Connect moment with them, like having an Xbox Connect moment, that might have been what happened on the online service, because they were, and Reggie was very clear in the article I read that the Nintendo service is going to be one game a month, and that's what everybody reported.
And
then
now that seems not. Yeah, maybe not
Kotaku
the
asked him
case.
directly, so this one game thing isn't happening now, and he very clearly, as I guess he can, said that no, this is actually going to be a subscription service, and all the games that are included in that service you have basically unlimited access to as long as you're paid on your subscription. But the virtual console will be a separate thing that will be announced at a different time. So it looks like right now there's just those 3 games that they've announced for Mario 3, which, can you imagine any more riveting multiplayer than being able to sit and watch your friend play while you wait your turn? If
Maybe
they keep
they're
the multiplayer the
adding.
same.
Do you think they might do some updates where they add actual simultaneous multiplayer into some old NES
Do you think
classics?
they're
Like,
that smart?
I keep thinking back to like the Wizard, the old movie
Right.
where
I've got
they're
it on
actually
DVD.
playing, right?
Good old Fred Savage. Yeah.
Red Savage, yeah. You've got him at the end there, and it's like you're both playing at the same time, but you're racking up a score, kind of like an online leaderboard.
Oh, like a world championship kind of thing.
Right, exactly.
Where just and they could do it that way. They could either do it as a split screen, or they could make it. It almost would be more fun if you could play a multiplayer game where you could see your screen and they could see theirs, but you couldn't see each other's. Like, that would be genius. Why don't they do like Battleship for Switch, where you can't see the other person's screen? Like, you could totally do something like that.
Right.
hey, now you remember the good old days with the versus cabinets? Sorry, go ahead.
The versus cabinets. Oh no, yeah. Go ahead.
Do you guys remember the versus cabinets? See, I'm old enough.
Were they back to back, basically?
No, they not quite. They were angled. They were at like a 45 degrees, so you still couldn't see your friend's screen, but you could still see your friend, right? So you were sitting sort of next to each other, but at kind of a, basically you were 90 degrees to each other.
Yeah.
And so you could still kind of glance over at your buddy or whatever. But yeah, they had tennis, Excite Bike. That's why I was all excited and had to download the Versus Excite Bike on the Wii U Virtual Console. They had a few others I'm trying to remember, but eventually, at least all the places around here, all those cabinets got replaced with Super Mario Brothers. Like, even the dual cabinets, they would put Super Mario Brothers on both sides.
Yeah,
because it was so everybody there were lines for it.
Now that you mentioned Versus Excite, it brought up a sad part in my heart, where I was really hoping I would get a 3D Punch Out, and I can't believe those 3DS NES games, they came out and then they just were like, nah, never mind, and we never really got anything beyond like Urban Champion or
but we got Sega. We got Sega.
Yeah,
though.
The Sega ones are amazing. I've got Gunstar Heroes. I've got a Sonic.
Those
I've got
are beautiful.
Yeah,
when the collection came out, I was ever so slightly miffed that I had bought all of them individually, but they're so good. I don't care. I wish to God Nintendo had done more of those, but we are in the minority. Those of us who are fans of the 3D, man. Apparently, most people I think it's lack of intelligence, personally.
I've always been like really fascinated with it. It's and they've talked about too with virtual reality. Reggie has even said, like, is there an experience where you're going to want to put those goggles on and sit there for a sustained period of time? Like, are you going to spend 4 hours or 5 hours in that world? Because it, I think it might mess you up. What if you got a call
VR?
and they said, hey, come here? Yeah, in VR.
VR, yes, but you know what? I put in some serious hours on 3D Land and Mario Kart 7, and
you're a slider up kind of guy.
Oh, I'm a max. Yeah, no. Like in the early 3DS games, not in addition to the hard slider, they even had software settings to like max it the hell out.
Right.
Like,
right.
yeah, no. I was all about that stuff, dude. I want Mario dancing 6 feet in front of my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was all over that stuff, and this has gradually gone away. Unfortunately, if the Switch had been 3D, dude, I would own 6 of them.
Yeah, I turn it on, I see how it looks. I'm like, man, that's pretty cool, and then I slide it down and play the game.
That's
Yeah.
same with me.
So okay, that was another one of our subjects, was your Switch use cases. Like
Well, yeah, it's a split.
I only play it on the toilet. No. No, Mo, you said you pretty much only play it on the TV, right?
Yeah, I'm primarily a docked at home player, and very rarely do I, unless I'm taking it to work or something. I generally don't ever take it anywhere with me.
So for me, when I started, it was all about the Zelda, and I got the wife who's enough of a gamer that I'd play Zelda handheld a lot of times if I was out farming, out doing whatever. But whenever I'd get to a dungeon or a boss fight, then I'd go pop it in on the dock, and she'd sit down on the couch with me, and we'd play through it. So right there, to me, was a great use case. Otherwise, I mostly play it handheld and wish I had 2 docks. And I've taken it everywhere. I've done the airplane thing. I've done the Mario Kart in the food court. I've done, you name it. Make old people milk cows at a restaurant. Took it to a bar in New York. Go ahead.
I can't wait for third-party docks. It's got to be a thing eventually. When someone will make a really cheap, just super thin dock that you can just leave at somebody's house, or
I want a pro dock. I want a pro dock that is, what's it going to have? My wish list for a pro dock. First of all, the screen is visible and is switchable so that you can use it in the dock just as a charging dock on the regular Switch screen itself, or you can flip it so that it's running on the TV. What else does my dream dock have? Anybody else? And what else would we want our dream dock to have for this thing?
Money.
I would like it. Yeah, I would like money. It'd be able to print money. But right, I've seen mods on Amazon. Have you seen this? There's a circuit board in this dock and it's got the little ports and everything plugged into it. You pop that circuit board out of this dock, and that's all the electronics in the dock. So guys are building, they're 3D printing their own little custom stands and docks.
They sell kits. You can go on like Amazon and stuff and buy a kit.
And you buy a cheap kit, and you just pop the board out of this dock, pop it into this new dock that they've 3D printed for you, and voila. And they do have a little stand dock with the screen visible and whatever. I haven't seen if they have a switchable HDMI input or what. But
I want a definite power button. I want something that I can push and just say it is completely off, because I'm not the kind of person that leaves something in sleep mode, unless it's a 3DS, I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like 3DS. You just hold the power button and hit power off.
Yeah, I don't know. I want it to just be off. So I always will put it in the dock. I hold down the power button, and then I pick up the Pro controller, and then go in just to highlight power off and power it off that way every night. And I probably should just leave it in standby, but I just can't.
Anyone else's hand hurt after playing Mario Kart for a couple hours in handheld mode?
I kind of got some problems after playing ARMS for a little while. Yeah, it gets heavy.
I haven't played it that much in handheld mode.
Were you playing, when you say it gets heavy, how were you playing, Jason? Were you playing in handheld mode with the buttons?
Yeah, with the buttons.
Okay.
On the side.
And just having to mash all the different button controls and whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that could get out of hand quick.
Yeah, the buttons start to feel real small after about a dozen rounds of Mario Kart at 150. The Pro controller is a lot more comfortable.
You usually dock it in Vega?
Yeah. For Mario Kart, yeah, I dock it. Use the Pro controller.
In general, do you play more docked?
I
Do you
haven't.
think?
Yeah, definitely more docked. I've only played it. Yeah, definitely more docked, like 90% or more.
Take it to the bathroom with you.
That's the only
Not
time
to the
it's on the
bathroom.
dock. No, oh no, oh man, no, mine seriously, yeah, my Switch has witnessed some serious fecal elimination over the 3 months that I've owned it.
How you been using it, Jason?
I've maybe took it with me one time to the bathroom, but that's about it. Most of the time,
Yeah.
of course, I've not been playing a lot since Breath of the Wild kind of is over for me. So
Is anyone else surprised about the battery life? Like, it seems like I'll play it for like a short time at work and I'll get interrupted and I'll put it down and then I'll pick it back up and it's like 64% battery. And I'll be like, man, it seems like I've been playing for like maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes tops.
You know what? There's been a couple times where I've had a game slept and the battery has seemed to burn down faster than otherwise. Ordinarily, it seems like the thing holds a charge pretty well. And to be quite honest, I mean, as somebody who plays mostly handheld, it's pretty rare that I get to the point that, oh crap, I got to plug in and play. But you know, I'm not. If I
It's
were a
another complaint.
12-year-old who sat for 9 or 12 hours playing it, then maybe. But I'm in my 40s, and so I sit for an hour or two, or maybe 3 at the most, before I'm like, okay, I'm getting stiff and miserable.
I've noticed too, at least with mine, if I'm playing it while I'm charging, it doesn't tick up that battery very much. Like it's pretty slow.
If you're playing while
you know,
charging, yes, but it does
yeah,
go
to go
up
from
just
like
barely.
67. Yeah, 67 to 68 after like 10 minutes or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems like it's real slow.
It's after about a minute and a half normally. I think it's pretty decent charge speed. If you're not running it.
Yeah. If you're not running it, yeah, it seems to charge pretty good.
The battery seems to last like maybe 3 hours, and I don't know. It's not as bad as I thought it would be, but yeah, it's like I can see how it kind of burns down quickly too. But I mean, I was expecting that for the Switch.
Ooh, another
Yeah.
wish list item for the dock I forgot for my Magic dock, a battery backup. Right, you can plug the thing in, but then you can unplug it for a few extra hours. Maybe it's got
Oh yeah.
2 or 3 extra hours worth of charge in the dock itself. Then you can just bring the
Yeah.
dock over to your friends, and maybe you just need an HDMI cable or something. But I mean, you know what I mean. Then you don't have to. It makes it a little bit easier.
Worry about the plug.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean you could do that probably with one of those USB battery adapters too.
You can't. At least I haven't found. There's newer ones that do higher wattage, but all the standard ones are not enough power. I've tried them. Even the higher, the higher amperage ports. I don't know about the newest ones, but like the second and third generation ones are not enough power for it.
Yeah, I still can't believe that they built that battery in so that it's not considered user serviceable. I imagine in the future we'll see other iterations of the Switch that are.
I'm looking at 4 little tri screws right here that say it is totally user serviceable.
Yeah, I watched a video this week on somebody was complaining about those straps on the Joy-Con grip, little slide-in rails, and they were showing how to take those wrist straps off. And it's like they're like, all right, so you unscrew this rail here, and then you pull this apart, and you pull this apart. And I'm like, just use scissors, man.
Oh yeah, no, I gotcha. By the way, has anybody noticed? At first, I thought the locks on those things were stupid until I realized playing ARMS that those things will pop off if they're not locked. Have you done?
Yeah, you got to push in. You got to push in the little white T.
Yeah, I didn't. I figured when you snapped it on, it latched on as tight as any of the other methods. Like when you latch it on to the Joy-Con grip, it's locked in. When you latch it onto the Switch, it's locked in. Why, when you latch it onto that thing, is it not? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, maybe if you were really swinging the Switch around, maybe the Joy-Cons would pop off.
Nah. They dropped it from 1,000 feet. You saw that video.
Yeah.
Even and the blue Joy-Con shattered, but the little at the end though, the little metal rail was still there. They had to pop it off.
Isn't it just what the blue Joy-Con needed? More bad PR.
Yeah, no, totally. Of course, if it was gonna destroy anything, did you see that drop in Mega?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, some site they apparently drop phones and stuff from drones all the time, but yeah, they dropped a Switch from 1,000 feet. It landed on the blue Joy-Con and totally shattered it, like just boom into little bits. But the whole rest of the unit, perfectly fine, perfectly working, perfectly good.
Wow. Yeah, just buy one new left Joy-Con and you're good to go. You can scalp it on eBay.
Yep, $50, and they didn't have to waste a Switch to do their stupid video.
Wait, I don't understand what you're saying though. You said you can pop it into the Joy-Con holder. I got that, or you can
not the holder, the little rail, the little strap, the one that has the wrist strap on it.
Oh, the wrist strap.
Yeah, that wrist strap thing. If you pop the Joy-Con into that, it doesn't lock the same way it locks on the Switch or locks into the Joy-Con grip. If you pop on that wrist strap,
white button.
Yeah, like if you pop it on, you don't need to push the button to pop it back off. Try it if you got in front of you. I discovered that by accident playing ARMS because I'm flailing my hands around like an idiot, and it's like, oh crap, my controller just came apart. What did I do?
No, I don't have it in front of me, but I'll try that out though.
Oh yeah. It sounded like somebody's fumbling with it, so maybe it's me.
Yeah, I've got one in my hand now. I can't.
That's who I hear. I knew I heard somebody messing buttons.
Yeah.
Well, should we move on to E3?
Oh,
I'm ready.
Please.
I think the biggest thing for me that I've found out recently is that their presentation will be 30 minutes. I think that's...
Yeah, they really know how to disappoint in the weeks ahead of E3.
Yeah. I just had this bad fear in the back of my mind that they're just going to repeat everything that we already know and then go straight into playing the games, you know?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, here's some ARMS footage. Here's some Splatoon 2 footage. Here's maybe an indie reel. Here's NBA is coming. Yeah, Mario Odyssey.
You're right. We'll get all the third party.
Yeah, but we'll get the Elder Scrolls and stuff like that. Maybe some new indie games that'll be cool. I hope they throw at least one or two. And in the future, I would think they would have to have like a slam dunk planned. But it's interesting, like the Pokemon direct that they did today. It seems like they must have felt that was too weak to put into their presentation. Like maybe people would complain if that was an E3 thing, so they put it out today to kind of get rid of the negative feeling first.
I disagree because if they were cramming a bunch of stuff into a presentation, a 5-minute Pokemon segment would have made the presentation feel more robust, you know?
Yeah, well, they're trying to get more Treehouse time. I think maybe all those Nintendo Club Nintendo surveys that everybody filled out told them that we want more Treehouse and less actual presentation. Like I always told them I wanted a direct every day. Welcome to the morning briefing from Nintendo.
Well, this is the first E3 that will be open to the public. So, do you think that changes?
Why am I not going again?
Yeah, it's going to allow people to get a lot more hands-on. You're going to see a ton more YouTube videos of people from the event that aren't necessarily sponsored by.
Why is at least one of us not going again? This kills me.
Well, you're the closest.
I know. I went in 95. I went 20 years ago, 22
How were you able to go in 95?
I thought it was open to the public back then. Maybe I'm crazy.
Oh, it was? Oh, all right.
As far as I knew. Now, I did work at a video game store at the time, so that might have been how we got the hookup. But it certainly seemed like when I was there, it was packed with people, and most of them were just average schlubs like myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the kind of thing that Nintendo has come to depend on lately, is having these YouTube personalities come on and go nuts because, they're in their booth or they're playing this game, and it's not really a true depiction of the quality of the gameplay or how great it is. It's just people getting really excited about it.
It gives them control over what they release. They did that with the Switch, and they've been doing a lot of like invite-only events where it looks like they're renting out like a conference room in a hotel somewhere, and they invite a bunch of YouTubers to come in and all make their own basically identical videos that come out on the same day on YouTube.
Right.
Yeah, I've never seen a YouTuber say anything negative about Nintendo. In fact, one YouTuber said that Ultra Street Fighter 2, the Final Challengers, was so great online. There was no lag, and like I play it in like every match. There's lag. It's really upsetting.
Try Angry Joe.
Angry Joe. Okay.
He's pretty honest about how he feels about Nintendo, because he's someone who's a big fan of Nintendo and always buys their products and wants so badly to review them and give them free publicity, and they content strike him, and he just rants about it.
Well, that's something we were kind of hoping to do here with this podcast that we're trying to set up, is hoping to get some more honest opinions and honest feedback on what Nintendo's doing.
Right, we've all seen those posts on Twitter to replies to Nintendo's comments that look like Nintendo employees, right? Or that look like paid endorsers.
There are hardcore fanboys that will defend everything to the death.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I think we all kind of have a love-hate relationship with the company, and we love them and want them to do well, but there's things that they do that don't make sense and are upsetting to our belief in them.
And are upsetting to our wallets occasionally, like when they make some of these greedy cash grabs. And
Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, don't get me started on the Mario Kart 8 that I did finally buy, and I'm still bitter about it. But I won't be buying Pokken Tournament. I'm sorry. I mean, I got suckered into the first one, and to be quite honest, it just seemed like an overly convoluted fighting game to me. I did not enjoy it.
I have a friend who is a big fan of fighter games, and he did not have a Wii U, but he was very excited about the game. He's kind of interested in ARMS. So I don't know. We'll see. It seems like right now, like I've thought about this morning. Is Nintendo Switch turning into like the fighter machine, because they've got that Pocket Rumble coming out sometime? But I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts on E3? What are you looking for, Jason?
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, I kind of get what you're saying about the Switch becoming like the fighters hangout, I guess you would say. But I think that's really because they're trying to promote so hard to get into esports. I mean, with Splatoon and with ARMS, I think that's where that's coming from.
They've already got a foot in the door with Smash there, and I think that's where they're pushing it. That is a good point.
They're doing ARMS and Splatoon little competition things from E3 this year, so I mean they're really working that angle hard.
And Pokken Tournament, as was mentioned in the Direct, I believe.
Yeah.
Spectator mode in Splatoon, I need to be able to, if I don't feel like playing a match, I need to be able to watch my friends play matches in spectator mode online. Right? They need to build that feature in. I think will make it a much more of a community, right? Because then, that also helps them shirk Twitch, because they really seem to not want to get on the Twitch bandwagon. So if they build that ability to watch your friends' matches into the game, when you can take a break from playing matches for a couple rounds and watch your friends, I think that would be huge. I think that would be a big community builder, and I think that would also help them get off the Twitch crutch that they seem to not want to be on, although maybe they've changed their mind now. We don't know.
We hear you. We're looking into it. More information to come. I mean, they did say that share button on the Switch is eventually going to do video. It's a little awkward to me that the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe still has like a little thing for Mario Kart TV, but you can't actually upload video to YouTube from it like you could for the Wii U. You
Right.
could just save your own playbacks.
Right.
That was a neat little feature that was a big step in the right direction and a way they wanted to do it because, again, they didn't want to get on the Twitch bandwagon.
And they content claimed you if you used it.
Yep.
Because I posted a video when like day one when it came out, and I got a strike, and it's like Nintendo Corporation says you violated their copyright, and I'm like, what? So I just never used it after that.
I think I eventually got a content strike for that Tom Nook amiibo unboxing I did too. They did it like a year after I posted it on there. But maybe
After you'd already made all your money. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know they could even content. I mean, I guess they could, but it's crazy if they're hunting down little old you.
No, wait. No, it wasn't Tom Nook. It was a Mario Kart 8 video, I think, from
Oh, okay.
from
I was
Wii
gonna
U.
say that would make me paranoid. I'd be like, how did they even find this?
So how
What
do they
other
block
topics
so
we got?
many at a time? They have like automation that does it?
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
an automated system that listens for music or sound.
Yeah, it's a script that does it all.
Okay.
What other
Makes them
topics,
automated.
Jason?
I was going to ask
Well,
you.
are we done with E3? We haven't talked about our hopes and our dreams and our wishes that will.
Oh, you know what?
soon
On
all be-
E3,
We got all sidetracked on E3. I guess.
they'll probably announce Smash for Switch on E3. What do you think?
I assume.
It has to.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, there is that big Christmas. I mean, I know they're going for Mario Odyssey, but they need to.
They want the 1-2 punch, man. I know they do.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of people that missed out on the Wii U entirely. So just like Z was saying, somebody in Best Buy was telling him how much fun they had with Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. It's like there's a lot of people that haven't played it yet and are now like, wow, this is a great game, and they don't really feel cheated at all. I wonder, will they add new fighters to make it a DX deluxe, and then thus have to make more amiibo? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Rumor has it. I think it's again. I remember how big of a deal it was for the 3DS when they launched Super Mario Land, and then immediately after they launched Mario Kart, and that those two titles together took that from a meh to a very successful system for that Christmas.
Yeah.
And I know they're trying to repeat the same thing. I'm certain that that's their other big title they're going to try to do that with. They'll have Mario, after Thanksgiving for the Christmas season. I think they're going to do Smash a little earlier November or end of October. Could be totally wrong, but I'm pretty confident they're going to do that.
I'm wondering where Metroid's fitting into this. There have been, just like every other year, rumors of a Switch Metroid and a 3DS Metroid both coming out. Or
fans want that.
Yeah, I would even take a Super Metroid. I mean, I'd take a Super Metroid remake on the 3DS in 3D. Would be even okay. It'd be so easy. But yeah, I'm hoping for a Metroid.
Steel Diver Switch.
That would be cool.
That would be epic. Yep. I mean, that's how a lot of us met anyway. Is through Steel Diver.
You ever play any Steel Diver in Vega?
They had a demo, right? I think I played the demo, and that was it. I wasn't really, but I know Mo's really good at it, and that's how you guys all met, was on Steel Diver, right?
That's how I met Z and Jason, I guess. Yeah.
And then we all hooked back up for Splatoon.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's like Monster Hunter. It either gets you or it doesn't.
But how could you not, dude? That game was just so perfect for the 3DS. Let me rant about Steel Diver for a moment. How perfect was that game? First of all, you're looking through a little portal in the first place, right? You're looking through your little 3D screen, 3D underwater. You got all sorts of little bubbles and little, flat little sprites of fishes and stuff going by and whatever in 3D. It's a slow-moving game, right? Because you're a big submarine lumbering through
That's
water.
what's interesting. It's like this. It's like soccer, and it's like Smash Brothers is like basketball, and Steel Diver is like soccer. It's a much slower game. It's not as high scoring. You've got to anticipate where somebody's going to be at the same time as your missiles got to get to them. So it's like you have to lead everybody. So it's almost like a underwater chess match kind of. But it is ultimately, I guess, a fighting game. You're fighting on teams trying to sink each other. But
It's a
seems
strategy
interesting.
shooter. It's a strategic shooter.
Yeah, and it rewards skill.
You really have to play. It rewards planning, right? You really got to plan your route out. You got to know where you're going to be, where your enemy's going to be,
Where your teammates are.
Yeah, where your teammates are, but got to know where everybody's going to be, however far in advance you are to get your torpedo to the target, right? So if your torpedo is going to take 6 or 7 seconds to get to the target or longer, you got to know where everything and everyone's going to be in those 6 or 7 seconds to get your shot off. And it's beautiful. It's like real-time strategy, but you're inside the thing.
It instantly clicked with me. I'd like to see them do more like that, although it's also one of those experiences that I beat over the head so much that I don't know if I got another one, if I would fall right back into it, or if I would just
have to be here. Well, it's kind of like with Splatoon 2. To me, there's not enough that's new. I mean, I'll play and we'll match up and but I'm not going to put in the kinds of hours that I put into the first one. Do you think you guys are?
That's my biggest fear, I think, with Splatoon 2, is that you're going to play it for a month, and then it's going to be like, I just finished playing this game on the Wii U.
Yeah, that's
kind of our fault, sort of. I mean, we played it for a long time. Yeah,
what else
I know,
was there to play? I mean,
well, right, yeah, that's the other end of it, is that Nintendo didn't really give us a lot, but it was a great game, and since there wasn't anything else, it was enjoyable enough that we could keep playing it. But
now,
I don't know.
Steel Diver, it's been a long enough time, and we're moving from a limited little 3DS to the Switch. They could add so much more depth to that game. You know what I mean? They could give you real single player missions that were fun, legitimate missions, like the regular game had. I mean, it had a passable little single player mode that wasn't terrible. If they flesh that out some more and give you some co-op for like co-op missions that you can do with your friends, where you're all trying to go in and take over something or whatever, I could see, and I used to put this for a while. I was putting this on all of my Club Nintendo surveys, saying you need to expand on this game considerably and flesh this out more into, like, you have a real potential hit here.
And they did, because it got some updates, so it must have been doing okay. I guess we should also mention we're talking about Steel Diver Sub Wars and not the launch. Not the launch title.
Right. It was like you were playing with a submarine in a fish tank, which I still had fun with for like $8 off of Amazon. I played that thing all the way through and did enjoy it.
But a much different game. It's side-scrolling, whereas the other one was kind of a first-ish person.
Basically a first-person shooter, but in slow motion and with torpedoes.
If you were looking out of a window on front of a submarine, that they don't have windows.
Well, if you were riding on top of the submarine, right? It was kind of like you're, like the end of Doctor Strangelove. That's how I pictured myself sitting on the sub, because you saw, like, the phallic shaft.
It's nice that it's at least another new title and a new IP.
Totally.
Do you think we'll have any new IP from E3?
No.
ARMS, maybe blew their wad on ARMS for now. Yeah.
What if Retro was working on a new IP?
They're still a studio?
Yeah, they've been working on something for Nintendo for ever since Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze was their last game, and they've been working on another game since then for Nintendo, but they haven't announced what game it is. So
if they've been
got
working
a few years,
if they've been working on a game that long for Nintendo, and it's not a Metroid game, people will riot in the streets.
It's actually
right.
It's actually Metroid Pinball, so don't worry.
Yeah, no, or if it's something like that, the writing will be worse. Yeah, or Federation Farce, or
what if it's F-Zero Prime, where Samus gets to get into her vehicle, which looks suspiciously like the pink racer from the original.
If you know what, on that note, were they to do like a Metroid F-Zero crossover, the way they've turned, the way they've turned Mario Kart into Nintendo Kart and Smash Brothers and everything else, I'd be down with that.
Would you accept that as your Metroid game?
I would accept it as my F-Zero game.
All right, fair enough.
Right? They could do some crossover stuff like that. That would be cool. That would sell some potential F-Zero fans, I would think.
I think we're very similar in the kind of games that we like, and like I've noticed, like in Vega, you play what is it, Etrian Odyssey? Like you play some RPGs and stuff like that.
I play Shin Megami Tensei 4, but no, I don't play Etrian Odyssey. Why do you think I play that game?
I don't know. I was thinking Shin Megami. I just get all those Japanese RPG typey things confused.
Well, but you play a lot. You like Pokemon Shuffle. You play some hardcore puzzle stuff. Like you got on the. I didn't realize you paid $10 extra to get Tetris on a cartridge with the keychains.
Yeah, and and that's because I just like physical media. The keychains are pot metal and awful. But yeah, I've always liked puzzlers. I like Dr. Mario and Tetris. Now, that said, if I go online in any of them, I'm going to get crushed because I apparently play my way and not the actual good way. Like, my fun in Dr. Mario is to put it to like the highest level, like level 20, and start there. So it starts with the entire screen filled and then just spend like 25 minutes clearing that screen. And not care about getting combos and dumping stuff. So that's the way that the good people play. But yeah, I like puzzlers. I really like the Pushmo stuff. That seems like a shoe-in for Switch at some point.
But it was so much better in 3D. Damn it.
Yeah. And then I would expect that at some point they're going to have to put those Box Boy games into a trilogy for Switch. What are you looking forward to? Like if in Vega, if they said, if there was like one title that you could be like, they just won me personally for E3, what are you waiting on?
One title? Wow. I can't even think of it. I'll have to try to think of one. One title.
Go with Steel Diver, man.
Steel Diver.
A new Steel Diver.
You know
what if they said there's a new Ms. Pac-Man?
I don't know. I like the Mario Odyssey. That looks alright. I mean, I don't know.
Is that up your alley? Like, is there ever a game that every year after year at E3 you're like, man, I hope they announce this, and they just don't?
No, there's not. I've kind of gotten like disillusioned. I'm like, man, there really isn't much out there that they that they released that I really. That's why I'm like a sucker for the stuff they re-release, like Mario Kart 8 and stuff I already like, because I'm like, oh, I like that. So.
You're the one they're selling to.
Actually, I would say that I was really looking forward to Animal Crossing for the Wii U, and they just totally scratched that one. And then I kind of burned out on the 3DS one, so I'm not really into it anymore anyway.
I don't know.
They have to do a lot to Animal Crossing. They will have to do a lot to Animal Crossing to get me back on board.
To get you back.
I love Animal Crossing, but it's just I've played too much. Huh?
I'm the same way.
I've spent so much time. It feels like starting all over again.
Which one were you playing, Z?
The one I probably truly burnt myself out on was Wild World. Was that the DS one?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was the DS one.
So the first one I played was the DS one, and that's the one I played to death. I played the Wii one very little, and I played the 3DS one pretty substantially as well. And I think I'm kind of over it.
Yeah.
Very small sidebar.
Yeah, me too.
How annoying is it when they release stuff like the Wii Animal Crossing on Wii U Virtual Console, and they just have none of the online features, just like they did with like every game. They did Mario Kart DS and like a bunch of stuff, and they're like, but we took out, what some people probably consider the best part, but whatever.
One thing that they could do that would win me back as a loyal fan, because I'm no longer, I no longer just buy their stuff sight unseen. Now I pick and choose. But they really wanted to win me back.
Shoelaces from my Nintendo.
Make the Wii U play. Give the Wii U a GameCube, emulator so they can play GameCube discs. So then the Wii U will be able to play all disc-based media from all those generations.
Yeah, it's long been rumored for the Wii U that they were going to do a GameCube Virtual Console, and it has to happen. But at the same time, the sad part about it is that, like, maybe the GameCube games will come to the Switch, but some of the great games like Rogue Squadron and other titles, like, I hate those licensed titles that are never coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't really see anything going back to the E3 because Nintendo's made it pretty clear, that doesn't exist anymore. It was a failure,
Yeah, no, and I don't mean they're going to add it to the Wii U, but at some point it could come to the Switch. But there's going to be some titles that you just never get again, and that's what makes, I guess, each hardware special. Is there's always games that are either licensed or for some reason, like regular Contra, just never seem to come out.
That being said,
that's what I want. I want Contra.
Console, that being said, the Wii Virtual Console got a lot of things that that didn't show up again on later consoles because it got
the cool Genesis and Commodore 64.
But also, I mean, they were able to get so much buzz with the Wii that I think they were able to get a lot of people on board, a lot of third parties, and a lot of licensees. And if they can generate the same kind of buzz with the Switch, I think they'll have much better luck. And so far, they've been successful in doing that. But again, at the expense of their loyal fan base.
Yeah, it'll be great to see. I hope that they do that. That did. I don't know. I forgot where I was going with that. It reminded me of some game that I was like, ooh, I want to change my answer for E3. That's my game. Oh yeah, Contra for the NES. For some reason, I don't know where those rights are tied up at, but what a bombshell. They're like, I know everybody's been wanting Mother 3. So we're proud to announce Contra is coming. I think go over like gangbusters.
Yeah, if they can spruce up here's the thing. We know with what was it called? NES Remix. They're willing to look at their old properties and play around with them a little bit, and Mario Maker and whatever. So I'd really like to see them go all in with this online capability for the 2-player NES games, like Contra reminded me. For example, if I could go online and just with my friends, like if I could just invite my friend to a Contra match online, hey, my friend's online, I can send him, hey, join me for Contra
on my voice chat app.
Yeah, or whatever. But you know what I mean? Send him some sort of invite, and he can just hop into Contra, especially whether he owns it or not, ideally. But
the 3DS has that kind of feature where if one of your friends is online playing like Mario Kart 7, there's an option if you look at them in the friend list to join. And I don't know if the Switch does that for Mario Kart 8 or not, but
it also
it does have that.
It did on the Wii U, but the options were super limited. Basically, if your friend was in an online match, it was like the Splatoon friend join. If your friend happened to be in an online match, you could join them in the next online match they were in.
Yeah, you join that group.
If they were playing any sort of single player mode, there was nothing doing. And see that it should, like if I were in a single player mode and I'm just buzzing through stupid, just trying to 3-star stuff, and one of you guys says, "Hey, let's go online and drive a few rounds." All right, sure. Like if you had that capability, that would be great. Or if you could just hop into whatever Grand Prix I was running, and the same way, if you're playing local multiplayer, you can still get the stars and the unlocks and the whatever, right? So why can't friends just jump if I'm going through, the 150cc Grand Prix, why can't my online friend just jump into the next round with me? Why not?
Right.
Exactly.
But none of that stuff has ever happened, and that's the kind of stuff that was like the big thing when like the Xbox 360 and the PS3 came out, was they could do stuff like that when they came out.
Yeah.
And as you had mentioned with NES Remix, I wouldn't be surprised at some point for an E3 they've got to drop a Super NES Remix. You would think that would be a safe title to drop and a complete surprise.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a good
It
idea.
would work. Yeah. But what you're saying about like the online features, I really feel like that's where we need to be at now. That's what Nintendo needs to be bringing out instead of this. Use your smartphone, and we're going to give you limited access. I think this is their chance. They need to step up, and that's what I would most like to see at E3. I think is to see
The
something
Switch
from
for them
Nintendo.
was probably like when, a 3-year-old brings you a drawing that you can't really tell what it is, but they're very proud that they made it. Like they
Right.
packed a lot of technology. Like I was talking about to some of you guys the other day, that I just kind of realized that when you pop the Joy-Cons in, the left one on mine, a little blue line, and then the right one shows a little red line. If you put the yellow arms ones in, when you plop them into the system, it shows yellow. I'm assuming the black ones probably show black, but I'm like, somebody built technology into this to recognize the color. Yeah, gray. Sorry.
No, it's just what it is that every one of them has its own, serial number or whatever. Like if you look at the serial numbers for them,
Yeah, it tells you what color probably. Yeah, I mean, I know there's some, but there's some way that that has to be communicating with the system. So it's like that's technology they put in there, but then they didn't think about online chat.
Yeah, well,
I mean, that's all I'm saying is they pack amazing stuff. Like I guarantee you,
little details.
that little sensor on the bottom of the right Joy-Con, the IR sensor, like that's probably going to end up getting utilized as much as the IR sensor did on the 3DS.
Yeah,
which was to use the Amiibo thing, the NFC sensor.
Oh,
and it could be used as a controller for Smash.
The Circle Pad Pro, don't forget, because they didn't include a second stick in the first place on the stupid thing when
Did that use the
was a
IR
standard
sensor?
for how many years? Yeah, that's how that worked. That's how that when you slap the thing in there, that was how it communicated with the 3DS.
I see. See, I never bought one. That's one of those things I looked at and I was like, dude, you will never use it. Don't spend your money.
Right?
Oh, are you kidding? I'm left-handed, man. That was the only way I could play Kid Icarus. With that, did you guys play Kid Icarus with the stupid stick and stylus thing? That was just a nightmare.
I was just talking the other day about how the little stand that came with Kid Icarus to set your 3DS on is almost identical to that hoary Switch stand. Like they look identical in shape. They both have the little piece that flips out to hold it. It's just the Switch one's a bigger version of the Kid Icarus case, which I thought was kind of interesting. That's
funny. Yeah, I got the little Kid Icarus thing here. But yeah, I mean, that kills me. I'm sitting here holding in my hand, a beautiful little gaming tablet. It really is. It's a beautiful piece of technology. And then it's you know what I mean? It's like taking a Ferrari and putting like a Volkswagen engine in it, or vice versa. It's like it's not even that. It's like taking a Ferrari and then just breaking all the windows because you think it looks cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. There's a lot it can do, and I'd be interested to find out. Maybe down the road, maybe they'll show you something else that you never thought you could do with it. They'll find some new way to use this. It's definitely a lot of stuff, and indie developers seem to love little bells and whistles like that, like, using the HD rumble and things like that. So we'll see. It is sad when they pack all this weird, bizarre IR sensors and stuff like that, and they're like, but we don't put a web browser in it from the get-go.
It's like buying a Ferrari, but the inside is completely unupholstered.
Yeah, I mean, it shows how they think, though. I mean, they definitely do think out of the box. But sometimes a little too far out of the box that they don't even really know what's in the box.
Yeah.
Well put. Yeah, no, they get caught up on these weird, like with the Wii U is a great example. They get caught up on this one concept, and it's like nobody on the team ever kind of steps back and goes, "Hey guys, we have our heads up our asses." It's like that. You know what I mean? That moment
It's like
never
episode
happened.
1.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. It's kind of like there's maybe it's because, and maybe it was the thing with episode 1 with Lucas. It's like this guy is the master. Miyamoto or somebody rolls in. It's like we can't say no to this guy. We got to just right. If whatever he says goes, nobody wants to question it, and or whatever. You know what I mean? Maybe it's a Japanese culture
But
thing.
there
But I guess
have been games that have come out. I think Ocarina of Time might have been one of them, and I could be completely wrong. But there was some prominent game that Miyamoto was like, "I do not like this. I'm not a fan of how this is. I don't think it'll work." And they were like, "Well, this is how we're doing it," and it turned out to be successful. So I think they do. There is some wiggle room where he doesn't necessarily have final say. I
okay,
think
but
he wasn't a fan of Splatoon.
that was in the Nintendo 64 era. Was he not a fan of Splatoon?
I think he was not at first, but I could be wrong about that too. But
Well, I was not at first. So
yeah, and I wasn't either. I mean, it's just like you said with Arms and the Test Punch. Like when Splatoon first got announced, I was like, all right, people seem to be excited about this, but I'm really not that excited about it.
that's exactly how I felt. Yeah.
And then when I played it, I actually really liked it. I mean, I had to warm up to it and had to get good. But yeah, like Arms is kind of like that, and it might be one of those perfect things where there's a software drought and Arms wears me down and I buy it and then end up loving it. But at this time, I don't have a plan to get it.
So I'm going to be the only one out here that's I'm not going to have you guys to join up with on co-op.
You're going to be so good at it by the time we pity buy it.
I mean, I'll buy it if you want me to. I'll buy it. I don't care.
I'm not going to talk you.
Just to play with Z.
He wants the My Nintendo points.
Yeah, yeah, because they're so good for so many things.
How many My Nintendo Gold points do you have right now in Vega?
Oh,
the nearest thousandth.
I think I have if I'm not wrong, I think I have 420.
Wow.
Oh wow.
That's so bad.
Oh, okay,
420 dog.
I'm at 3 something, and I've had some expire on me now.
Oh, you let them expire? I'm probably gonna let mine expire too.
Well, that's
Nothing
the
to
thing
buy,
is,
man.
yeah, it's like if you either let them expire or you buy something for 30% off that ends up giving you more coins that you have to deal with.
Right.
By the way, if you're comfortable in Vega, I just want also to the nearest thousandth how much you got into Badge Arcade.
Oh, we need to hear that. Give us a number, man.
$828.
That is amazing. They need to give you something.
You need to be on the cover of the next Badge Arcade. Badge Arcade Swim.
They should give you your own badge.
All you need to do, you need to go up to Seattle. You need to walk into Nintendo of America headquarters. You need to give them your Nintendo Network ID.
They'll know it already.
As you say, I'm in Vega. We've been expecting you, sir.
We knew this day would come. Your kid's been using your credit card, right?
No, that's all me. And then Reggie will come out and shake your hand, and then send you on your way.
Yeah.
Without so much as a T-shirt. Because they're cheap these days, man.
I know.
Yeah, that's an achievement right there. That's amazing.
It's sad.
I mean, talking about appreciation from Nintendo, that's something I would really love to see change. I don't know that they could do it at E3, but over the coming year, I would love to feel appreciated for having a Switch.
Yeah, or even a Wii U. Like I wish they had an ambassador program or something. It's a little too late, I guess now.
Yeah, Mario Kart 8 was like a kick in the left nut, and this Pokken tournament is feeling like a kick in the right nut. And
wait till Super Mario 3D World comes out.
Could
they announce that at this E3?
That I don't care. Here's the thing: when it's an adventure game like it's a Mario, once I've played through it and beaten it to death, like I really have no desire to go back. But the party games, the social games, those are the ones I
Well,
want to
it's
have
got great
when I have
4-player
friends over.
multiplayer.
Yeah, but nobody wants to play that. Everyone wants to play Smash and Kart and whatever. And don't so Kart. When Kart comes out, I got the left, I got the right. That is a full frontal. That's the kind of kick in the nuts that you just don't recover from. I'm like, you
The
know what I mean? That's a
wallpapers,
real insult.
like the themes for the 3DS felt low, and then the wallpapers are like the worst thing in the world to me, that they're giving out a JPEG for your coins. But there's really nothing else there. And it's like, somebody's got to have a website where they've just collected all these pictures for me to download. But what else do I have to spend my thing on? Yeah, that's the rewards program has been pretty awful all in all. It's like, I guess some of the things like the Prima guides, nobody really wants a digital Prima guide probably, but I mean, it might be nice to have if you just got Luigi's Mansion just came out, I think, as a select title. So
the rewards
Yeah.
program is bad enough and insulting enough to the point that I genuinely believe they would be better off to just not have it. Because
Yeah.
anybody that knows and cares about it and logs in to check it
they're
is
not
like,
creating a
this
goodwill
sucks.
for those people.
Yeah, they're saying this sucks, and I assume most people just don't care or notice, right? I think most people don't really register their stuff or bother with any of that.
Well, the people who own Pikmin 3 and want to spend their points on DLC are the ones who already bought the DLC because they liked it enough to get the DLC. Like, I don't think a lot of their stuff is, when they're offering a discount on the Wii U DLC, it's like that stuff came out so long ago. If you wanted it by now, you'd already have it.
Exactly.
And Switch stuff, have you noticed since the Switch came out, I think maybe even since before the Switch came out, the My Nintendo page has said, Switch rewards coming soon. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know what planet you're from. 3.5 months is not soon.
Well, you remember when I took that screen cap before the Switch came out, after that first commercial, they had a website at nintendo.com/switch that just said Nintendo Switch, what did it say, coming sometime or coming someday? And like, that was really from Nintendo. I was like, did they just seriously say coming someday? It was before they had like announced the date, I think, on it. I just thought it was interesting, like how they do that. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like this reward system does nothing but add bad will to their people.
Yeah,
like I don't see what the positive is for them.
No.
And it's not to the casual player; it's to us, the loyal fans that are been with them for years.
As much as we don't care about a JPEG of Mario on our phone, a casual really doesn't care.
Exactly.
So yeah, maybe they're just off target on who their audience is, or maybe they're serious. I mean, I guess I'm gonna be real here for a second. They might be thinking that their fans are children and wouldn't know any better.
The Switch. They keep saying the Switch prizes are coming soon, or rewards. They're gonna suck already. They're gonna be like JPEGs and.
I kind of wonder.
We get Switch themes, yeah.
Yeah, I think at E3 that would be an interesting announcement. I would hope that part of E3 they'll talk a little bit just about stuff coming, like as far as apps, because it's sad that we're at a point where that could be an E3 announcement. But they're like, hey, we're going to do something with the Switch.
Yeah, we now have 2 of our banner titles out on this console. Like it's already, they've pushed it to maturity pretty quickly. And it's got no Netflix, it's got no browser, it's got no voice chat, it's got
no YouTube, no Twitch.
The online functionality at this point is no different than what they had on the Nintendo DS over 10 years ago.
You get what you pay for.
It literally is the same, like the Mario Kart matchmaking and the whole. It's exactly the same as the first time they launched it on the Nintendo DS in, what was that, 04?
Yeah, and I've seen people praise how sleek and refined the operating system on the Switch is, and it's like,
it is.
It's just a black background or a white background. That's
it's
pretty much it.
It's absolute bare bones.
Yeah, so I mean that would be something they could at least. I can't imagine they're not going to try to get a badge arcade type thing to fly
Okay.
there. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you better watch out, buddy. Because that bunny sure likes himself enough, and is always saying, like, remember when they did the thing where they were like, "Hey, would you like a Badge Arcade bunny amiibo?" I think they're putting their feelers out.
Well, they're actually dumb because when I got to 5,000 badges, the bunny was like, "Oh, we don't have any more trophy." They could have kept stringing me along if they would have just like made some more.
You should write them a letter. Be like, how can I give you more money? Are you gonna have at least new themes without music? More bunny badges?
I want.
Yeah, they just reached the end in Japan. They put out their last set of badges and said they wouldn't be making any more. So that is, we still haven't got all the badges that Japan's had, but its days are numbered.
Before badges and themes, man, I want real online functionality. I want the friends list stuff I was talking about before. I want, you know what I mean? Like on Steam, I can click on my friends list and I can right click on my friend's name if they're playing a game, and I can join it or I can watch it. Just bam.
Mm-hmm.
And I Nintendo needs to get with the times. I think that kind of functionality is on the other big consoles too these days, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting. There's a lot of room for growth on the Switch for sure. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it, because something's got to happen. I would think it's not going to stay as bare bones as it is.
Do you
But
think
with
Not
only a half hour at E3, who knows if there's enough time?
And for only $20 a year, that also makes me worry that they're going to justify that. You know what I mean? That's how they're going to justify having a very rudimentary online service.
Yeah, I can see them doing it.
Or maybe themes will only be for paid subscribers.
Okay, there you go.
I mean, I think for $20 a year, I think anyone I know with a Switch is going to pay that, no questions asked.
How about this? If they tell us that we can't, that our virtual console titles, we're just screwed. We're out of luck on the Wii U. I mean on the Switch. What, or the 3DS? Do we riot? Like I fly to Seattle and I beat down the door and I'm like, what the hell, guys?
But think about this: you have to buy Super Mario Brothers 1 for 3DS for $5 and for Wii U for $5. So you don't even have cross there, and they could have done it. I would hope at this point, now that they obviously have my Nintendo ID, you can pull up, I believe, can't you pull up receipts and stuff?
think so?
On there. So, I mean, they have a record of everything you've bought, and I'm sure they've got the Club Nintendo records out there too. So, I mean, they
remember everything that you bought, was on Club Nintendo. So they're logging all that information. All that information's in their database somewhere. You used to have access to it all. That was so nice. Remember on Club Nintendo, you could go back and look at every single purchase you'd registered, every single online purchase you'd made, going back to however long, since they started the system, which was, I think, around the GameCube era. And actually, I had registered in the early days, and I think even in the late days, you still could register all your old Nintendo cartridges. You just wouldn't get points for them. So, like, I'd gone back and registered old Game Boy cartridges and everything. Like, I just for fun. Like, I went and registered everything I could find that I owned that I still had the case and the code for. So yeah, I mean, it was it was great. I could go browse my list, and it was like, wait, that was literally my catalog. Like I literally downloaded that list. Like, oh, this is so I know what I've got all packed away in my boxes. And now
how many surveys I took.
Yeah, and exactly. But now they don't. Now I'm sure they still keep that information, but now you don't have access to it, which is just, it's again a sign of a darker turn for them.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, I think it's getting a little bit late tonight.
Yeah, we should probably wrap up.
Let's finish on a lighter note. Could you remind us again how much you spent on Badge Arcade in Vega?
cents.
You wanna hear it again?
I
know
totally
what
would.
it is.
And I know what it is.
but I still want to hear it again anyway.
$828.
Yeah.
It's so awesome that you know the exact dollar too.
And
You
here's
always-
another question.
You
Here's
always
another
buy them in
question.
twos, don't you?
Was it always in twos, or was it how did you buy
Oh,
in
How's your
big
money
chunks? Or?
configured?
It started with like just dollars, and then
That's how it starts.
yeah, and then it was just 20s every time.
20s?
Oh, and then it went up to 20s. Wow.
Well, you can. What is it? Yeah, I think 20 is.
I thought 5 was
No.
the
I
max.
would. No, what would happen? Yeah, 5 is the max. So I would add 20 to my account and then just use that until
And then
it
use
got
5
used up.
at
Yeah,
a time.
yeah.
Do you use it all at once, or do you try to wean it for a week?
It
How
would
long
last
do you
a couple.
stretch that 20?
It would last a couple weeks unless like they just release like a whole like sometimes they
Wait.
would release like a whole slew of badges and it would it uses the whole.
If a 20 lasts a couple weeks, that means you were doing this for what, a year and a half? Am I doing my math right?
Yeah, almost.
Probably.
Yeah, I think it started in November. What was it? 2015. Yeah, and then I forget when I stopped. I think like somewhere around
Look
this
in your
year.
diary.
You know what's cheaper than that? You know what's cheaper than that? A World of Warcraft subscription.
Right?
Yeah.
Or really probably any online MMO.
Or a couple of months of a car payment.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
that's awesome.
on that subject, is
All right,
Jason ready to ride us off into the sunset?
He fell asleep. Oh.
He's got to be.
I'm still here. All right. Thanks for tuning in tonight, guys, and hope you enjoyed the podcast. Special thanks to Invega for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man. It was fun.
Yeah. And we shall see you next week, E3. Hopefully, it will either be during E3 or our usual late night time. So be sure and check us out. See you guys later.
Have a good one.
Party on.